Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me again today. Today, I'm going to be talking with Brooke Carlock, who also is a bereaved mom, and she's part of our grieving community. And I'm just going to hand it over to Brooke. And if you would tell us your story. Welcome, Brooke.
Thank you. So yes, I am first and foremost a grieving mom, but I am no stranger to grief. I seem to be one of those people that just hit the jackpot in the grief department, which is never a good thing. But I lost my sister when I was in my 20s, and she was only 32 when she died unexpectedly. And then more recently, I lost my cousin and my sister-in-law. And then within the past 2 years, it's just been remarkable. Honestly, there's no other way to say it. It started out with my dad passed away. He had a heart attack that was unexpected. And then my stepmother, 10 days later, committed suicide on the day of my dad's funeral. And then I found out that my mom had pancreatic cancer. And this is all within 4 months. 4 months after the loss of my dad, I got the phone call that no parent ever wants, that my two of my children had been in a car accident. And I showed up at the scene of the accident, got there as quickly as I could, and I found out that my 10-year-old daughter, Libby, had died in the accident. My 20-year-old son, Max, had been driving the car and went through an intersection, and they were hit by a tractor trailer. And Max suffered head injuries, but he survived, and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. But Libby didn't make it. She was dead at the scene. And then I can get back to that a little bit more, obviously, because that was the biggest tragedy that's happened in my life. But after Libby passed away, my mom was still fighting pancreatic cancer. And then just this past April, my mom passed away from her cancer. So yeah, I've lost both my parents and my daughter.
Whoa.
And my sister and my stepmom. And it's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, when they talk about like compound grief, I am the epitome of just going through numerous losses in a short amount of time. So I will say that being a grieving mother definitely stands above the rest. Any loss is terrible, but there's just something about losing your child. I mean, you kind of expect growing up that eventually, you're going to lose your parents. And it's terrible. And I lost both of my parents, pretty early in my life. But you never expect to lose a 10-year-old,
No.
So yeah, that is my story and kind of what I've done since then. I teach 8th grade English, but along with that, I've also been a writer. Ever since I graduated from college, I've written for magazines and websites and things like that. So I started writing to kind of deal with my grief. And it turned into a blog that I called Grieving Mommy. And it started out just me pouring out my feelings as more of like a survival mechanism in those early days. And then it just kind of built. And I found shockingly people were actually reading it, and they found it helpful to hear someone talking so openly and honestly about their grief. And so then it just sort of snowballed and turned into, social media sites. And then eventually I started a YouTube channel. And that's actually where most of my followers are now, is on YouTube, where I make videos about, it's a mix of like my personal, feelings about grief and things that I'm going through. And then also I got certified as a grief educator. So I'm also kind of giving tips and advice for other people that are going through grief as well.
Oh my goodness, that's such a lot to process in such a short time. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry to hear of all of these losses, but especially of your daughter. Do you want to tell us a little bit about her, please?
Oh, Libby. It is impossible to describe her, really. She was just a light. That is the best way to describe her. I said she was only 10, but once she knew that she was special, we knew that she was wonderful. Every parent thinks that, but she really was the best daughter ever. She was just amazing, just so kind and sweet and funny and just such a good kid. And then when she passed, the amount of people that just came to her memorial service and that contacted us, it was just overwhelming how many lives she had touched in just her short amount of time. And I think the best way to describe her is just, she was that kid that was friends with everyone, that would constantly, if she saw someone sitting alone at a lunch table, she would go sit with that person or invite them to sit with her. And she just was so helpful and so kind to everyone that really is her legacy. We actually started my ex-husband, her father, and I started an organization in her honor called Live Like Libby. And we got the name because after she passed, her elementary school had a lot of the students go out and draw chalk messages honoring her. And when we went to go look at them, we kept seeing people had written Live Like Libby. And, it was not something we had ever heard of or thought of or anything like that. But as soon as we saw it, it was like, oh my gosh, that is perfect. Like, if everyone would live like Libby, the world would be an amazing place. If everyone could just embody that kindness and joy, and helpful, the world would just be an amazing place. So we picked Live Like Libby as the name of the charity organization that we created. And she was a competitive dancer. So from the time she was 6, she basically lived at her dance studio. And it was just something she had a natural, knack for. And she was really good, just so graceful and beautiful. And so she started dancing competitively, and she loved it. We didn't want to tell her no. And she was 10 years old, in groups with girls that were teenagers, like juniors and seniors in high school. And it was expensive. It was really expensive. It was a struggle for us to pay for all the classes and the competitions and the costumes. So we figured an amazing way to honor her, since dance was really her life. That was her thing. And she said she wanted to be a dance teacher or a professional dancer when she grew up. So Live Like Libby, what we do is we collect money, and then we give scholarships to dance students that are in financial need. So we help them buy the classes that they want to take and buy the costumes and things like that. So
that is beautiful.
I think she'd be happy that we're doing that in her honor, so more people can dance. So
I love that. Live Like Libby. I mean, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, goodness. All right. So we talked a little bit about your Grieving Mommy blog and the bit of social media. What are you planning to do with the Grieving Mommy?
I don't know. Like I said, it started out as survival, for me. And it's just been, the best part about it is people commenting and sending me messages about how much I'm helping them. And I'm sure you see this in the stuff that you do too.
Well, you helped me. So definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's really just about, that's what keeps me going, because right now I don't make any money from it at all. I lose money, honestly, and it takes a lot of time to do it, but it just keeps me going, and it makes me feel like I have a purpose with getting them from people saying, thank you, and that watching your videos is helping them get through their grief. And I've had people, a woman just messaged me on Facebook and thanked me because her husband is kind of shoving his grief down and doesn't know how to deal with it. And she's showing him my videos to, help him process his grief. And that is just so powerful to me. It just, all the shitty things, but just so many bad things have happened to me in the past couple of years that it's a way of making something good, making some sort of purpose come out of it, because I can't imagine going through all of that and then just having to survive the rest of my life, not using the things that have happened to me in any sort of way. So that is the main thing that I get from it. I'm hoping eventually that I'm about 4 or 5 years away from retiring from teaching. So my ultimate goal is to turn it into something that can produce a little bit of an income that can help me after I retire from teaching. So I would love to do, like speaking engagements and maybe like a course or a class or even one-on-one coaching, something like that down the road. I'm not there yet. I don't feel like I'm far enough out from my grief. I'm writing a book. I've been writing a book. I'm almost finished with that. So hopefully within the next 6 months that will be published. And it sounds a little tongue in cheek, but it's called Grief Sucks, but Your Life Doesn't Have to.
That's beautiful.
And I think, I think just kind of sums it up, because grief, grief sucks, but I'm hoping to give people hope that your life doesn't have to completely suck, even if you've gone through as much grief as I have gone through. So it's mostly just filled with kind of my story mixed in with tips that have helped me survive through what I've gone through. So I'm hoping that will help other people as well. So yeah, it's kind of a long-term goal. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But
I think you're going to be helping a lot of people. I know.
Anyway, I can continue to do it.
I love it. Yeah, because I mean, you've got that affirmation, the grief affirmation that you do once a week. I love that, because once a day. Sorry, you do it every day, don't you? Yeah, daily affirmation.
I'm usually about 3 times a week. I do a daily affirmation on social media. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I just like quick little thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just something quick and little, especially, like those early days in grief, that's kind of what I looked for. I couldn't, with grief brain, and you're so stressed and overwhelmed that reading big, long articles, you don't want to sit through that. So I just figured something quick and short that you can kind of repeat to yourself throughout the day, to remind yourself that it will be okay and that what you're feeling is normal. I find that would have helped me. I know, so I'm hoping that it will help other people.
That's amazing. Just remind me, how far out are you from your loss?
It's a year and a half. She died February 2022. So it's only a year and a half. So I know I'm not that far out, but yeah, this is amazing. Thank you. All right, so where are people going to find you to support you? So a couple of different ways. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Grieving Mommy. You can just look at Grieving Mommy and you'll find me there. YouTube is the same. My YouTube channel is called Grieving Mommy, so you can search for that as well. I also have a website that's grievingmommy.com. And if you can't remember anything, you can just search Grieving Mommy and you'll be able to come up somewhere, hopefully. So yeah, Grieving Mommy. And then on my website, I have links to all of my videos and my social media accounts and stuff on there. So if that makes it easy for people. And then if anyone would be interested, I'm not asking for donations, but just because people ask me sometimes, Libby's organization is livelike-libby.org. So that is where you can find, we have like Live Like Libby merchandise and stuff that people can purchase, and that helps go towards these scholarships for the dancers, and you can make donations there as well. And it just sort of tells her story. You can learn about Libby and see pictures of her. There's videos of her dancing if you want to see her dancing. So
I'm going to go look at that. Yeah. Oh, Brooke, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for talking to me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'll put all your links in the notes below, and hopefully people are going to reach out, and I shall see you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Brooke.
Have a good day. Bye, everyone.